Hello, YouTubers. I hope that you guys are doing fine. It's the holiday season, and I hope everybody is enjoying. Happy New Year to all of you in advance. Uh, in the previous video, I configured a domain controller on TXDC01 by enabling Active Directory, DNS, and DHCP features on it. In this video, I'm going to uh, uh, first I'm going to join SQL01 to domain called bbtech.com. That domain was created in the last video. So if you want to know how to do that, please follow that video. But if you are new to this whole series, I strongly do suggest that you start from the beginning, from the very first video, so that you could follow through and you understand the whole thing, what is going on. In this video, I will install and configure Microsoft SQL Server 2019. Once the installation is successful, then I'm going to install SQL Server Management Studio. It's also called as SSMS on this the same machine. And then finally, I'm going to install Microsoft SQL Server 2019 reporting services. It used to be a part of the feature and core SQL Server installation, but now Microsoft is starting to provide a separate MSI for reporting services. Thank you for watching our videos. I'm Bibi, and with me in picture is my wife Mishi. We are husband and wife team who works together to bring you all these videos. We love to drink hot tea. Please support our channel by subscribing, sharing on social media, and commenting in the comment section. If you would like to buy a cup of tea for us, now you could do so via PayPal. You could see the link on this screen and also in the description of this video. Thank you again, and we love you. Peace. So I'm going to log into my lab and make sure that SQL01 is powered on. So just log into my ESXL lab. I believe it is powered on, but I just want to make sure that it is. Right, this one is powered on. I'm just gonna RDP into it by using the IP. The IP address for this server, I believe I had set it up to 192.168.0.102. This was in a previous video, so I'm just simply gonna RDP into it. And since this one has not joined the domain yet, so I would still use the local account with the local administrator account. Enter my password. So I'm just gonna create one folder here, and I'm gonna move all of the installation files that are required for this video. So I'm just gonna pause just for a second and move basically all of installation media from my main machine to this one. Installation for media, and I'm just gonna copy the files right here. Alright, I have copied all of the installation media into this folder called installation_media. Now I'm just going to go ahead and just join this machine to the domain. Just simply, I mean, there are so many different ways you could do it. One way is to just go to the server manager, local server, and then click on the workgroup. Then a new window will pop up. You can just click change and then select domain. Put the domain name, which is bbtech.com. Click OK. And here you're going to need domain admin credentials. In my case, it's sc_admin. and my awesome password. Okay. Welcome to bbtech.com domain. Click OK. It's going to require you to reboot the machine. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly reboot it. Restart now. Now I would be able to go back and RDP into the machine using even the machine name versus just the IP address. And that's what I'm going to do. Just going to RDP as SQL01 connect. So here, just enter the domain credential, which is bbtech /sc_admin. Awesome password. Now I'm logging in as the domain admin user account. So it would take, the first time when you do login, it does take just a little bit longer than the regular login because it sets up the profile for that user. All right, this one is joined to domain. I'm going to quickly check nslookup on it just to make sure that the name is resolving correctly. So I'm going to open up a command prompt to nslookup by the IP address 192.168.0.1.102, and as you could see, it is resolving to SQL01. Or even if I just do the reverse, that was a reverse lookup, and if I look at the forward lookup SQL01, it should resolve to this IP 192.168.0.102, which it is doing it. That's looking good here. One more thing that I'm going to do for this lab purpose here, for this user, since I'm going to log in under SC_admin all the time. So I'm going to change the desktop so that whenever I'm switching between the machines, it's easier for you guys to understand that I have switched the machine. So for this one, I'm just going to change the color of the desktop from the picture to, I'm just going to go with a solid color. For SQL, I can just probably quickly give the red. This way, it would be a little bit easier for you guys to understand which machine I was working in. I would also create a one Quicktax file and call it SQL01 and just leave it right here so that during the recording it's easily identifiable. Now I'm going to start the actual installation of SQL. I'll go to installation media, SQL 2019, and I'm going to include the link to download each of this installation media in the description of this video. So you can go ahead and just download it from there. Go to the setup.exe file, run it. I just double clicked it. Click on the installation. There are some other options that it gives you. You could actually download SQL Server Manager right here. This will take you to that tool too. You could download those tools from here, but the link is also included in the description of this video, just in case if you want to use that one. So I'll just select installation and new SQL Server standalone installation. That's what I'm going to use. And I would go with the developer version. You have evaluation, developer, and express. With the developer, you cannot use it in production environment, but for development purpose, you could use it anytime you like. So that's what I will go with. Click next. Accept the terms. Next. it runs a prerequisite and it kind of asks you if you want to update. In production environment, I usually like to check this mark so that everything is updated. But for this lab purpose, I'm gonna just uncheck it. Next. So it ran all of the prerequisites. Don't worry about this firewall. I will run this script in a little bit. So we would have that. Click next. Select data engine services. Leave everything blank. This installation is just for the purpose of SCCM. So if you guys are trying to do something else for this SQL installation, obviously you're gonna have to select those features for whatever that are required for that app, or anything else that you are doing that is custom. You would need to know what to select. But for my purpose, I'm just gonna only select this database engine services. Click next. So just select, you could name it if you want to, but I'm gonna leave everything as the default. Next. So as I mentioned in the very first video, I'm gonna run everything as one of the service account that I created in my domain, which is svc_sql, because I want everything to run under that service. It's very easy to control. You get much more control if you want to stop something. And I mean, there are so many other things that goes with using those kind of accounts. So I'm not gonna run it as the local accounts. I'm gonna run it as the service domain account. Bibi tech SQL. Oh, I'm sorry, svc_SQL1. Password is the awesome password. And I'm gonna make the service as automatic so that whenever the machine reboots, these services do turn on. Same thing goes here for that user ID and password. Awesome password. Make that one as a service. And you do want to make sure this SQL Server browser is turned on and set to automatic, because if this service is not running, and when you would try to connect from a different server, in our case, I would be connecting to the database from SQL01, you would not be able to connect it if this service is not running. So it is very important that this service is running. So make sure to set it up to automatic. And collation, it needs to be just default. If it is not, if you have a different kind of a language set up on your operating system, in order for SCCM to work correctly, you need to make sure SQL_Layton1_general_CP1_CI_AS is selected. If it is not, your SCCM installation would not work. And I repeat, it would not work if you don't have database engine set up to the one that you are seeing on the screen. So please make sure that for SCCM is set up to this. Next. So click add. Here we're gonna use two users. One is obviously this SC_admin. Check name. Yeah, it needs to be that one. And then the other one needs to be that service account too. SVC_SQL1. Check. Okay. Data directories. If you want to change it, you could change them. I mean, in certain environment, like let's say if you have multiple servers that are running and you want to copy the logs on a different directory, you want to keep the databases on different drives or directories. This is where you could do it. For this purpose, I'm just gonna leave it as is. Everything else is going to stay the default. I'm not going to change anything. There is one more part that needs to be changed, which is memory. But for the installation, I'm not going to do it. I will do this one in when I will install SCCM on SCCM server, and I will run a prerequisite tool. That tool would set this memory. So everything else basically is going to be default. Click next. This is the configuration ini file. If you need to just use this one or reuse it, I should say, you could just copy it from here and then run it through the automated process of how you install SQL Server silently. You could use this configuration file and all of these selections would be in that file. Click install. And the installation would start. Installation completed successfully. Click close. Next, I'm going to install its SSMS. Double click on it. This would require the reboot at the end. Leave everything as a default on the welcome screen. Install. Restart. I'm gonna log back in. First thing first, click on Start. Go to MySQL Server 2019 and then select SQL Server 2019 Configuration Manager. Yes, I'm going to minimize this. So here, I just want to make sure that the services are first running and they are running as SVC underscore SQL1. So the way to test it, just simply go SQL service, server services, and just look at the SQL server. My SQL server is the instant, and this one is running. All of the services are running, right? And each one, the two that we want them to run, they are running as Bibi Tech slash SVC SQL. So they're running as SVC SQL1. So this is good. Next, I'm gonna leave this one running because there are a couple of things that I need to do here. Minimize it, go back, click Start, go into SQL Server Tools, and I think it's 18. Yours might be different by the time you get to this video, or maybe it might be the same. And then launch SQL Server Management Studio, and this one is 18. So that's why I was saying the version might be different for you if you're watching this video down in the future. So here I just need to verify and make sure that the SVC underscore SQL1 and then SC underscore admin both have the admin rights to the databases, because that is very important and that is one of the prerequisite for SCCM. So once you launch Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio, you're gonna see this window. Everything leave as default and click connect. Once it's connected, simply go to the databases. Go to the security and then logins. And here, look for these two accounts, the one that I mentioned, SC underscore admin and SVC underscore SQL1. So just select that one of the user, right click, and then click on the properties. Select the properties. And here, just simply select server rules, and then go to, these are all the roles on the server. Make sure that this account has sysadmin rights, and that's checked. So this is good. The second one, just go to and just check the same thing. It should have the same permissions, same roles. Server roles, sysadmin is correct. If this is not, you would not be able to do successful installation, and you are going to start seeing some errors on the SCCM. So make sure that these are checked. Click OK. Next, I'm gonna minimize this, and I'll go back to SQL Server Configuration Manager. Click on and all these settings are required for SCCM. These configurations that I'm trying to make are required for SCCM. So select SQL Server Network Configuration, protocols. Make sure everything is enabled here, name pipes and TCPIP. So right click, enable it. Okay, and then right click, enable it. Okay, so when you did install SQL, and let's say that you customize the instant name, I left it as a default, which was MS SQL Server. If let's say that you change it to SCCM, then you would see SCCM here too, and you need to do the same thing to that instant. So make sure that you are aware of that part. That's why it is, if you are new, I would recommend you to just use the defaults. Everything is enabled. Then go to TCPIP, right click, properties, and then click select the tab for IP addresses. And here, as you could see, TCP dynamic port is empty. You might not have this one empty. If it is not, if it has any value, just it needs to be empty, and TCP port need to be 1433. This is good. So make sure that each one go into each one of them, and also enable them too. Yes, enabled, yes. This is, I kind of ran into when I was trying to make a connection, and for some reason when you try to get connected to SCCM server, it would not allow you to connect to it if these settings are not configured properly. Apply, click apply, okay. And once it's done, you do need to go back to SQL Server services and restart these services, so that the new settings can change, take the change. So there are two more things that I need to do before SCCM server would be 100% ready for SCCM. One is to add open the ports, which is the firewall ports. So I have a script, a powerful PowerShell script that I have written that is pretty fast to kind of open the ports. You could do also manually too if you want to, but I rather prefer to do it with the PowerShell. So just click on the search box and run PowerShell, either one, 64-bit or 32-bit, it doesn't matter. Run as admin, yes. And then I have this script. I would leave this one in the description of this video too. So this would basically go and create a new rule, and the rule would be called SQL SCCM SQL inbound ports, and it would open up the inbound ports, and the port would be 1433 and 4022. That's all it's gonna do. So I'm just gonna run it. Was successfully ran, and just to validate and make sure that it did in fact created that rule. So just go to search box again and type firewall advanced settings, Windows Defender firewall with advanced security. Check inbound rules, and here you should see, which is right here, SCCM inbound ports. You could also double click it and kind of look at it, make sure that those ports were configured properly. You could general, and you would go under protocols and ports, and you could see these ports are right here, and the connections are allowed on this one, 1433 and 4022. That should take care of almost all of the configuration, but one. There is one more that is left. It is adding actually two objects, AD objects, into local admin group on this machine. One is the account that needs to run, which is SC underscore admin. And the other one needs to be SCCM account, SCCM server name, which is going to be SCCM01, which I have not created yet. But once I create that one, I'll come back to SQL 01 and add those accounts to the admin, to the local admin group for this machine. I hope you enjoy this video. In the next video, I would build a SCCM server and start installing install the code installation of SCCM on that one. Stay tuned. Thank you so much. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe now so that you could get all the future videos. Peace.